Hey everybody, welcome back to the fourth episode of the Don't Go Anywhere. Today we're going to be doing a panel discussion about some bad movies that we think are actually pretty good. So today we're joined with Owen, Jacob,
Hi.
Lee,
What's up?
Steven,
Yo.
Sebastian, Russell,
What's up?
and Callum.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so I think Callum's going to get our panel discussion kicked off.
Of course.
In his defense of, what?
Oh, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, what's the podcast about, sir? I think
It's a discussion about bad movies.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Oh, now that's not the right thing to say, Calvin. Let me tell you. I'm here to discuss good movies that everyone sees as bad. Now let me tell you, young, impressionable Callum. He's living his life. He's hanging out. He's having a good time. Bam! A new movie comes out, The Phantom Menace.
We weren't even alive.
I'm saying,
When did it come out?
99.
No,
I will fact.
It was something like 1997.
99.
No, I thought it was
Phantom Menace
Because-
97. What are you on
Yeah,
about?
it was 99.
Before we
What are you on
continue,
about? That was
that's
earlier.
earlier.
That was early
1999.
2000s.
Yeah. 99.
Callum, continue your
2002 was
defense.
Attack of the Clones.
It was
Yeah.
1999.
Yeah,
so,
99.
As a child,
I know
after I
that
watched this
prequels.
movie, you gotta look up to young Anakin. You know, the acting was perfect. He already has himself a girl at like 13 years old. He's kind of goals right there.
How long have you wanted to kill
13 years
All
old.
my life.
13 years old, he was 9. Have you watched the movie?
Yeah, dude. No, but like I'm being metaphorical, okay?
What?
Shut up, Russell.
He was 9 and she was 14. Have you ever watched Weird
She was
Al?
not 14.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
I thought she was older.
No, but
Wait,
what's even weirder
Nine.
is
Wait,
in the
she's
second,
14?
Yeah, no. But
not
what's
like
even weirder is
14,
they just like trivialize it because in Attack of the Clones, Hayden Christensen is the same age as Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
Like so they just completely trivialize the age gap.
It's fun.
Wait, so Callum, can I ask you a quick question
Yeah,
about
let me
that
ask.
movie? So, George Lucas is trying to revive Star Wars
Yes, sir.
for
it never
the people,
died.
the people who were children during the originals, now adults,
Yes, sir.
and he did it using
No.
a love story
That's-
between a 9-year-old
Dude.
slave
Dude.
and a
Dude,
14-year-old.
you actually just called Anakin like a sex slave or something like
I
that.
didn't say sex
I'm just
slave.
saying, there's a weird power dynamic.
There was a queen that came in
She
and
is
bought
a
the
princess.
slave and took him away, and then they
And
had
then-
a
Actually, they
relationship.
won him in a gambling.
Yeah.
Not even bought him.
It's not even purchased. They was
He
like
won
chips
his
on a
won his freedom
Man,
from the
that-
pod
a
race,
dice.
though.
A dice.
That's
roll.
messed up. Was
That-
Andrew...
Yeah, because they put his freedom
But it was a
as
rigged
gamble.
dice roll.
That has to count as.
Stop it. Get some help.
All right, so back to the movie though.
But
the
Naboo
second
is
best
basically third world
part,
country.
I gotta tell you, was Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
The greatest
yeah.
power play ever by George Lucas. He put all his brain cells on one character and said Jar Jar Blinks. And
He
God
made him a
was in.
Sith Lord and everything.
I-
That's what I'm saying.
Actually, he
I
would've,
think
'cause
Jar
that
Jar is the funniest character.
Jacob.
Alright, if Jar Jar was so good, why did they take the second movie, which was originally going to center a lot around him by its title, and make it into
The second movie.
the second movie, Attack of the Clones, or the Start of the Clone Wars, whatever it's called? It was originally called Jar Jar's Adventure, and he was so bad.
I don't believe it.
It was. Fact check that.
Can we fact check that?
The original
Fact
script was
checker.
called Jar Jar's Adventure.
Producer.
That's
Calvin?
so.
What would
that's
the
so
third
bad.
have been then?
Yeah, look it up.
Well, here's the thing. Jar Jar
Jar
as
Jar's
a
rise.
Yo,
Jar
what
Jar
did
as a Sith Lord would have been really cool because it would have been a great reference to the Foundation trilogy.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of
Could
there's-
it-
push?
Yeah, there's.
Could
a
it
lot
have
of
been
evidence
like
towards it though?
Could it have been a love triangle between Jar Jar
No.
and Anakin and Padme?
No, there are like little scenes where Jar Jar is like mouthing words,
yeah.
so
No, it's
people
not.
think he's like controlling people with like force and
I think
everything.
it would be.
And
But
it's, like,
also
it's a bunch of
in
shit. There's a
in
lot
that
of
love
weird stuff.
triangle, who would be
Yeah,
interested?
Jacob,
in
it wasn't
who?
official. According
Yeah.
to Wikipedia, it was
Starter
basically
gay.
a troll move George Lucas did.
I was made by George Lucas. Unforced.
Even outside
Good
of
well
it,
played.
Jar Jar is
Well
such
played.
a close.
Well played,
Outstanding
George Lucas. Well played. You
Outstanding
got
movie.
me.
All right, I think that's
So that
pretty
concludes
good.
that the Phantom Menace is in fact
Moving
At
to
the end,
last
do you
episode.
want to vote
The
on which
best
one is
episode.
the new best
Move.
movie
I
of
mean, you
all
don't need
time?
to leave.
We'll do that at the end.
Yeah, no.
All right.
It
Yeah,
didn't
we'll
kill
decide
the
this.
All right, so Owen, how about you talk about your favorite
Me?
movie? Yeah,
It's over.
or favorite bad movie.
So everyone's a fan of Spider-Man. Obviously, there's been a recent reboot with Tom Holland. I think it's very well done.
I like the spider.
Kind of dead now, which is great. Into the Spider-Verse, amazing movie. But I'm here to talk about another amazing movie, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I wish this was a surprise because my reaction would have been priceless.
It's honestly, I've seen this movie over 50 times. I watch it on my birthday. I watch it on Christmas morning. I watch it all the time because it is one of my favorite movies of all time. And that's because it's got good characters. You've got Spider-Man. You got Gwen Stacy, better than Mary Jane Watson, subjectively.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what you're talking about.
Have you not seen the second one?
No.
You're a lucky
Yeah, I'm
man.
plugged
Yes,
in.
I will
Second
give
one.
you the brief
So good.
summary.
Okay.
So, Peter Parker's parents,
Peter's
they
Parker.
die so that he can be with Uncle Ben.
Peter Parker.
Now, in this
Okay,
movie, it
okay,
turns
this
out
is bad.
that his parents were secret agents
No.
that were killed
No.
to prevent a secret from coming out
No.
by making their plane
No.
crash.
No.
So Peter Parker has this
No.
whole B-C plot
No.
where he's trying to find out the secret about his parents.
No.
Furthermore,
This is not
the movie
true.
performed so
None of
poorly
this
that at
is
the very
true.
end they try to launch a Spider-Man cinematic universe
None of this is
by hinting
true.
all the stuff at the end of the movie.
No, that is
and it
true.
never
of
happened
this
because the movie
is
was so
true.
bad.
That
That
last part is true.
Can
They
I
were trying
tell
to do
you-
the Sinister Six.
Give me a second.
Okay,
Can I tell you the
okay,
They had the
honestly,
rhino and
no,
everything?
the
Yeah.
movie made $483 million.
He also got a 6.6
Yeah, but how much
on
did it
IMDb,
cost?
and it was the worst.
How much
Can
did it
I- yeah,
cost?
what was the budget for it?
Yeah,
That's
that's
Spider-Man
not-
2, not Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That's
Oh.
Tobey Maguire.
Spider-Man 2 is actually a success.
Suicide Squad
Yeah.
also
Oh,
made a
okay.
lot of money, and everyone knows
I've
No,
it's
The
a pretty
Amazing
good
Spider-Man
movie.
2
Bro,
also made a lot of money.
How much?
It would cost $200 to $300 million, somewhere in that. But it made $709
Batman v
million.
Superman, terrible movie, made a lot of
Okay, so
money.
that means
Why
they
am I
have-
being
Suicide Squad
hijacked?
won an Oscar.
For-
Wait, did it?
for
Was it
makeup.
Yeah, it was
for
for
costume.
makeup.
The Kronk
That's
makeup
still-
was
That's the
decent.
same amount of Oscars as Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, Leonardo
And
DiCaprio
all
was
I'm
kind of.
saying is, Suicide Squad deserved it.
Huh?
It wasn't a great movie.
It was literally the worst movie
It had
ever.
really good makeup though for Kronk. I
Harley
admit
Quinn
that.
It had
slaps,
good
but everything
origin
else
stories,
was
man.
Hits.
Hell no.
Harley Quinn
They
did
had
not
You know what I'm
good
saying?
setup.
You know what I'm saying?
Hell
Just
no.
The plot was god awful.
What's the setup? to Suicide
But the
Squad?
introductions were pretty neat.
The introductions was literally like yeet, and then
That's
plays music
If
and it
then
has
plays
text,
music,
and I
has
have to
them,
read
and
my
good-
movie.
yeah.
I wanna
What
read.
is this? Some sort of Suicide Squad?
Guys, I'm pretty sure we were talking about the
Amazing
Amazing
Spider-Man
Spider-Man 2.
That movie's really bad.
Oh, we
Yeah,
want to
she-
get us back on
So
track.
that's what we're here
So
to talk
I'm gonna
about.
correct Jacob here. So Mr. Fierce, right, comes in at the end of Spider-Man 1, and the only reason they stopped Amazing Spider-Man 2 after Andrew Garfield was because Andrew Garfield didn't want to continue with the series. That is the only reason why. Sony then
Do you want to
did
pull up? You want to pull up why they sold it to Disney afterwards? Then just because they
for the
couldn't find another
Marvel
guy?
rights. For the Marvel rights.
Yeah, because they totally love Disney and Marvel, and they just wanted to share Spider-Man the whole
It's
time. That's why
Marvel
they made
rights.
5 different movies without Marvel. That's because they just love making stuff with Disney. It's because they weren't making any money.
It's Marvel, right? They made 7
They conceded, and then they tried, and then they were
700
so
million,
angry
that's a lot
that
of
they
money.
wanted more money. That they made a
Actually,
Spider-Man
they made
universe.
a lot of money off of
They
this
made a
movie.
Spider-Man
Like, at
universe
minimum, they made
without
$500
Spider-Man. The
million.
Venom universe.
Yeah,
They
but-
wanted to do something without Marvel so bad they made a Spider-Man universe with no Spider-Man.
Sorry, hold on.
separate from the
Is your
story
math okay?
universe.
Because you said they made 500 million,
Yeah,
No,
but
and
they
then
made-
they
they
made
made
700 million.
they made
and then
700.
they cost
No,
500
no,
million.
No, it cost $200 million.
Oh,
yeah,
he
so
would-
the
yeah.
box office was 700 million. They
So you
just spent a lot
subtract
of money.
7 minus 2.
So you quick math, 7 minus 2 is 5, and
I
then
mean-
you add some millions, 5 million, they returned.
Compared to the
500
other
million,
superhero
they
movies,
returned.
that's
About, around, approx.
It's
How does
still
Gwen
good
Stacy
for
die at the
movies.
end of the movie?
I'm
It's
sorry.
not from Electro.
I'm sorry,
No, but why is she falling at the end?
Because
It's
it
not
was
from
from
Electro.
Electro.
Okay, so Electra's dead at this point.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
me
There's
tell
like
you,
3
so-
different
Oh,
villains.
no,
Okay,
Goblin,
okay.
Goblin
Let me
did
tell you.
that,
So
yeah.
they have
Oh my
Dane.
God.
They have Dane DeHare as Harry Osborn, but he's such a good fucking character, dude. It's actually good.
So gross.
Everyone hates the movie because there were too many villains. Yeah, because he is a hobgoblin. What do you mean? That's a character. Yes, it is.
Hobgoblin
Look
is
at
a character.
Hobgoblin. Look at
have you
Hobgoblin.
seen
Hobgoblin is a
Disenchantment?
version of Green Goblin.
because that boy looks like Elfo.
Yes, because he's got a fucking genetic disease. What are you making fun of people with cerebral palsy now too?
Hold on. That is a.
I'm No.
Calm
I
the
don't
fuck
know.
down.
Anyways,
It's a bad movie.
Hobgoblin might be a person.
Hobgoblin is a character, but it's not Harry
It was not
Osborn.
the
Okay,
Osborn.
no, I understand.
It's usually
that.
and also
Isn't
Hobgoblin
he-
is literally only a gray version of Green Goblin.
Hobgoblin
Yes,
is also
I know.
not the one we
Furthermore, if you
wanted,
want to have a
so.
good Green
Well, we
Goblin,
already
Norman
had fucking
Osborn
Willem
in the
Dafoe
original
as-
Spider-Man trilogy does a perfectly good job at playing the actual Green Goblin.
No.
And furthermore, Harry Osborn, his face is really deformed, which I get. They want to try to do something different with it, but at the end, they literally have Electro, a very cool villain. I think
Yeah.
his performance is pretty alright,
That was
honestly.
pretty
Jamie Foxx was good.
I think he does a good job. Why couldn't they just have kept him to the end and we're done? Because they're like, you know what? We have Spider-Man.
They need
we
the
gotta go. Everyone loves Green Goblin from the original trilogy, so let's put in Green
That's
Goblin
not
into
what
this
it is,
movie
though.
so that we can kill
Scooby-Doo,
Gwen
yeah,
Stacy.
Scooby-Doo.
You're basing this all on dumb fan service. It's the character development between
Fan
Harry
service.
Osborn and Peter Parker.
Why does Harry Osborn hate Peter Parker?
Because he hates Spider-Man, and when he realizes
Why does he
the
hate
two are
Spider-Man?
because Spider-Man won't help him.
Why won't he help him?
Because he doesn't want to hurt him, but Harry doesn't know this. Harry's just too conceited and
His-
Why doesn't Spider-Man tell him?
he can't. What do you mean?
Why
Why
does
is
he say,
one
I
of
don't
the
want to hurt
best
you?
Spider-Man villains,
does.
Norman Osborn,
Well, then why
on
can't-
his deathbed at the start of that movie, literally having done nothing with Spider-Man? It's like saying you have a Superman
I'd say,
movie,
no, Norman Osborn-
and the movie starts, and Lex Luthor is dead. He has cancer and he's
No,
dying.
no, but that's not exactly true because Norman Osborn was a good Spider-Man. Like in the comics, in some of the comics, his character dynamic with like Peter Parker was always well done. So I think that's okay.
Norman Osborn is one of the best Spider-Man villains, and his intro into this series, which they were trying to make into a universe, was "I'm dead."
Yeah, but that's the thing because like when
fine,
Harry
'cause it's-
when Harry like took up the mantle like after, like it was like it's still that's a cool
Everyone
like
in
it's
that
all-
movie is crying repeatedly.
No,
Harry
they need-
cries for half the movie. Spider-Man cries for 80% of the movie.
It's not true though.
Come
Yeah,
on,
that's
everyone remembers
It's
him
not
crying.
true.
Peter
Doesn't.
McGuire cries twice, and it's a very well-known cinematic movie. This buddy Garfield's crying like 80%
Garfield cries once because his girlfriend gets her fucking
Okay.
neck snapped.
by him.
Wow. Yeah,
If
exactly.
you think of Gwen at all in that movie, she's always got tears in her eyes, even when she's smiling.
All right, I think that's
Just-
pretty good.
No, I have one more
Yeah.
comment about
Hold on,
Spider-Man.
we're not done
Spider-Man.
with this movie.
Spider-Man. Am I the only person that thinks that Andrew Garfield is too good looking to be Spider-Man?
No.
Yes.
no.
Actually,
Spider-Man's
that
supposed
is
to
a
be a
good
nerd.
point.
Yeah,
Yes.
Spider-Man, Tobey
he
Maguire
does look
did a
pretty
really
good
good
for a
job
nerd.
of, sort of being somebody that you can relate to,
Wait,
whereas
which
I
one's
think
Tobey Maguire?
he was the first guy.
Yeah.
in the
And
total Spider-Man.
Kind of chubby.
Yeah.
The way- yeah,
he
the-
was
He went
nerdy.
emo
was
for a
nerdy.
bit.
He
He
had-
went emo for a bit.
Yeah.
So, no,
Which
I
one's
can,
the new one?
I can agree. The new one's
Tom
Tom Holland.
Holland.
So
The
the way
Tom
middle
Holland
guy,
really works
Andrew
for that.
Garfield he's tall. He looks about 25,
Yeah.
and you can't. It's not believable that he's getting
Okay, the way-
bullied.
the
at
way-
least in
Yeah,
the first
the
it's
one.
more
way I
about
s-
his age than anything. I
No,
don't
Yeah.
okay. So the way
Yeah.
the way that I've seen it and the way that I agree with. Sorry, Gavin. Tobey Maguire did a better job at being Peter Parker, but he wasn't exactly the best Spider-Man in my opinion. Andrew Garfield was a good Spider-Man. He had the good quips. He had the good movement. He was like kind of cool in his Spider-Man getup, right?
How many
All of that.
people does Andrew Garfield save?
How do you mean?
How many
Probably
people does he
one.
save as
Like
Spider-Man?
a lot.
I think
bus
that-
full of people in
No,
the
there
second
was-
Spider-Man movie.
There was the whole thing with like,
Toby
the bus
stops
as
a
well, and
train
the-
with
the
his
thing.
body and saves an entire
So,
Yeah.
train.
are
Andrew
you quoting
Garfield-
superheroes on being the best because
No,
of?
but Andrew Garfield managed
Hold
to
on.
kill.
Doesn't Tom Holland
Electro.
save a cruise
No.
ship?
He does.
Yeah.
Well,
A little
Iron
bit of a
Man
segue
Iron Man
here.
does.
A little bit of a segue here. But is it just me, or does Tom Holland's Spider-Man literally way too physically powerful? Like he's wearing a suit,
No,
but he can get
Tom
like
Holland
slammed
is
into
reasonable.
brick walls
Tom
at
Holland's
like
no
unbelievable
So
Yeah,
this
Tom
is
Holland-
where
his power.
This
This
is
is-
Andrew
yeah.
Garfield.
That wasn't one of his original
Tom,
powers.
this is where-
That
this
But
is-
was
Spider-Man does have
Okay,
super
can I continue?
Yeah, that's just superhero stuff, right?
Yeah,
there.
let Owen finish there.
So
Marvel
Andrew-
Cinematic Universe turns everyone into Superman.
So
Andrew Garfield
Okay,
was
that's
worse
literally the
though.
worst thing I've ever heard in my
Yeah.
life. That's not true.
Andrew
That's
Garfield
false.
was
Okay.
was
They just lost
less
half their
realistic
heroes.
than
Yeah.
than
They
Yeah.
were trying to take a different spin with Andrew Garfield to make him more of like a loner side person, which is a part of his Peter Parker's personality, but it's more on the nerd side rather
Yeah.
than like the stoner
He's a
cool
bit
guy
of an-
skater
he's a
boy.
bit of an emo.
He's more of a zoomer than a
Yeah,
than
he's a bit emo for Spider-Man.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think that Tom Holland is the best of both of those. And I don't know. I still just like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie because
You're welcome to like
good.
it, but I do not think it is a very good movie.
I've only got one.
I like Amazing Spider-Man 1 a lot, though. I quite like that one.
I didn't like
Yeah.
it just because I don't like Andrew Garfield.
I don't
as
think.
Spider-Man,
Well, I
but-
don't. I think the tone for the first movie was a little bit not great.
I think the
Alright.
backstory
Compared to
with
the
his
second one.
parents
Guys,
really slows
This-
down.
this-
the
Well,
second
it was
one.
showing. It was
Let's move it on.
We need to
showing
move on. We gotta move
familial.
Why?
All right.
Why? What did they say to me?
And Russell, so I think your movie is another Star Wars movie. So why don't you talk to us about that?
All right, so I think that The Last Jedi was actually not a bad movie. Like, it got really great reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't really get why people don't like it, so I'm just gonna open it up to the group and ask why people didn't like The Last Jedi.
Because it's a terrible movie.
Let's
What's your
imagine
sub-
Luke Skywalker, the
what's your
epitome of
substance?
cool, literally drinking green milk from like
That was
a
hilarious.
cow.
That was
He
great,
milked
yeah.
the cow.
Hold on.
Isn't it?
Can I
blue
just
milk?
say, Callum?
No, it was green milk. In the
It was
in the
green.
Yeah, in the
Luke
eighth one.
Skywalker was never the epitome of cool. I know you're
Yeah.
blonde now and you have to side with your fellow ally there, but like, no.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you. Obviously, you've never seen the extended lore of Star Wars, where Luke Skywalker is literally like the coolest character.
Oh yeah, doesn't he like
In the
literally
movies,
kill
I don't
God
get
or
why-
Han Solo's the
something?
coolest character.
I
We
don't
don't need to
understand-
get into expanded lore. I have
Yeah.
5 main questions for The Last Jedi that I
Okay.
don't think I will ever get a proper answer to.
Okay.
I liked it, but the more you think about it, it gets worse. And the thing is, too, I'm not, like, I don't like to be negative, especially with things that I really like.
Yeah.
So I like to think about it, and I really didn't like Force Awakens, but the more I think about it, it's alright.
No,
It's-
Force
I can-
Awakens is so much worse
As
than
a
Last
surface
Jedi.
as a surface movie, it was good.
It's
Yeah,
and
I
I know
liked
it's
it.
for new fans, so I'm not gonna hold anything against them. I'm not gonna say anything about Luke Skywalker. I'm only gonna keep it exclusively to those 2 movies. Nothing else happened in my mind. Only these 2 movies. All right. The thing with the hyperspace, really cool scene, but
Yeah.
think about it. Why do they have bombers? Why do they have any other ship when you can just hyperspace? a
Well,
scene?
might-
okay,
yeah.
so okay,
why
wait, let's
why don't
let's,
they just do this every
let's
time?
let him get through all his questions,
get
then we
through-
can answer some
Why
of
isn't
them.
that just every single time they have the bombers that are like they move really slow?
Adding to that point,
Why don't they just use that? Furthermore,
adding to that
No, no,
point
no,
though,
we-
they went through 3 spaceships before they did that too. They could have done it with any one of those 3
Yeah, that's
spaceships.
true.
all right.
Okay, so
Why
the other
doesn't?
questions,
Okay,
yeah.
I understand they want to create drama and they want to show how what's his name, the pilot. It's not Fenn.
Poe.
Poe.
Yeah.
Thank you, Poe
Poe
Dameron.
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 Why don't they tell him the plan? I know they want to give him some character development, which is cool because you should develop your new characters, and I grew to like Poe a little bit more in this movie. But why doesn't
No.
Holdo purple hair general? I think it's Holdo.
I think
I
it's
like
yeah.
Why didn't she tell everyone, all right, we have an escape pod. We're going to try to wait him out so we can do that. So he doesn't do any of these actions where they think, oh, she's like messing up, she's doing bad. If they want to show this competent general, at least you give them a hint, like, don't worry, guys, I have a really good plan. We're going to get this out fine.
Yeah.
Now, after that, Leia's thing into space, a lot of people have problems with that. I personally, I'm all right with it. It's whatever. I'll just pretend like I don't know anything
Yeah.
about Leia. Out of my mind, whatever. Luke
None of
Sky.
that works.
I
But she
wish.
has the Force, though, guys. Like, if Luke did that, then no one would be questioning.
No,
the-
Luke shouldn't be able to do
I,
that
I
either.
disagree.
in
Guys,
this
guys, let
movie,
Jacob go through his
they,
points.
they
Don't tap the
completely
table
use
so much.
the
That-
Force as just a plot escape for any problem.
Exactly. Instead of, and that's not how the
Yeah, but
Force
that's not-
works.
that's
Here,
not
let me just
just-
project myself. Hey, let's have a Skype call using the Force.
But that wasn't just a thing in The
Bro, that
Last
was the
Jedi,
like,
though.
Like
That's
Kylo
my
Ren was
issue.
the best part of that
It was
movie.
just
Yeah,
Last
the dude, the
Jedi.
pants.
Ben Swallow.
Ben Swallow.
The
Like,
pants.
so
Can I
was
finish
amazing.
my
Yeah.
10 commandments?
Yes.
of Star
5
Wars?
commandments.
I'm
wow.
ignoring everything about the Force because I'm going into this movie
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
babby. I've only seen the Force
There you
Awakens
go, yeah.
and the new Disney stuff.
So
I don't know what
9-year-old
the,
who's into the new series.
I don't know
Yes.
anything about the Force. Of course, the
Which is
Force
a
will do
majority
that.
of the
It's
people.
magical wizard powers. I'm
majority, so
perfectly
whatever.
alright with
I'm
that.
still trying to get
Why
attention.
can Yoda shoot lightning, but why doesn't he just help people? Like, why didn't he show up against Kylo and just zap and just and kill him? Like, where was
Because God
Yoda?
has a
Wait,
plan
isn't,
for
isn't,
Kylo.
isn't he dead?
no, but he
Yoda,
does. He shoots
Yoda as a
lightning
ghost, he
as a
burns
ghost.
the tree.
Yeah,
So
'cause he's just
either the only
Yeah.
explanation is that Luke Skywalker did it subconsciously or under the influence of Yoda, and if they made that more clear, I'd be more okay with it. The battle scene in Snoke's room, the
Yeah,
deformed guy. That's a really cool battle scene, except for
the
actual
fighting. That was terrible.
I'll get there. A lot of the blows and the kicks don't actually connect.
Yeah.
And like, it's really weird. If anyone wants to watch that, just pay a little bit more attention. I know the first time around you won't notice it, which is all right, but they could have reshot it a bit. It would have better.
Yeah, well, you can pin that on CGI and just bad choreography too.
I
just
wish
with
I know
coinciding,
I
yeah.
know what's his name, Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson really wanted to have Luke die under the two suns, and they didn't want him in this movie, which is all right. I don't know anything about Luke. He's just kind of angry old guy. Everyone seems to like him, thinks he's a cool war hero. Awesome. I know he wants the scene with the two suns when he dies. So why don't they just make the salt planet have two suns? And so instead of actually just rejecting there, he's actually there fighting. So that would make that scene feel so much more impactful if he's actually decided to come and fight. And the way he said it earlier in the movie, which was, oh, do you expect me just to go over there and face it? And when he actually does it, and imagine him losing, like horribly losing, and everyone has to face the fact that Luke Skywalker can't do this.
Way better
and their
poetically.
hero has
Disagree.
failed you.
Give it, yeah.
And he went out there to fight Kylo Ren as a martyr just to save you. And even then, he bought minutes, seconds of time, losing that Kylo Ren in the exposed end and being shot at. Maybe he managed to block only a couple of them, leaving him weakened to make it more realistic that Kylo would beat him the same way that Rey beat Kylo in Force Awakens because he was hurt. Because I'm alright with that idea. I wish they gave Luke more... this is not a Babby mode thing. This is I'm going to leave my Babby persona just for a second. They should have given Luke more time to mourn Han.
Yeah.
That was really disappointing for me personally. They did a good job killing off Han. Everyone, I kind of felt it, though the relationship between Rey and Leia was a little bit weird, but I'm alright with that. I wish they gave them more time. I wish Chewie and Luke had a scene where they were just sad, and you had time to really feel the impact of the way. 'Cause that's a big moment. Anyway, Babby persona,
I think
back
a
on.
really good
to get a solo movie.
I think what they should have included is when Luke finds out that Han dies, he should just yell, "That's impossible!"
Well,
No!
that could have been like a deleted scene, like when Rey's sulking off, like in the cave or something. I'm sure that Chewie was with Luke in like one of those little stone huts, just kind of like being somber, like just going like, oh fuck, man.
Like they usually like one or two scenes like that.
There's a couple.
One-
him and Chewie kind of share.
One
like, a
thing
look
really-
almost,
They do, they have
One
like
thing
a
really
romantic
pissed me off in that movie is the fact that like we all knew Luke was gonna die at some point in the movie. Like going into it, I was like, all right, Luke is gonna die.
Well, considering they
But
killed
they didn't.
one,
They
right?
killed him off at the very end. I was like,
that was okay.
no, because I
But they
I
didn't
went through
kill
this
off
whole
Leia.
movie. I was like, oh, he's gonna die. All right, when's he gonna die? Is it gonna be in the middle
They
of the
couldn't
movie?
have
No,
predicted
at
what was
the,
gonna
I didn't think
at the end of the
I don't
movie,
think
I
it was
legitimately thought he was
With
gonna
Leia.
live because they waited so long to
There you
kill
go.
him.
That's the point.
I
That's
was-
the point.
I don't
was
think that's
ridiculous.
an issue.
Okay, I was gonna say. So what you said about?
I wasn't done my commandments.
Oh wait, give me a sec. So the thing about Luke, right, where he like comes in as like a Force ghost or like whatever, and like he like pretends he's there. I kind of like parallel that to like when like Obi-Wan and Darth Vader are fighting in like A New Hope, and like Obi-Wan just like gives up because he doesn't. He like they're looking at each other, right? Like Kylo and Luke, and he just doesn't do anything. He just lets himself die. Like the point was that he was gonna come and like actually fight. Like I think they're like. I don't really know what they're trying to say. Maybe they'll like explain it more. But like Luke was super powerful, right? But he'd given up on the Force, right? Because he'd stopped using it for like his day-to-day life while he was on the island. But like he just at that point he just kind of like he gives them a few minutes and gives up. So I think it's kind of like giving like more of a mystery around him, right?
Well, I think it was kind of.
I think the idea that he would astral project himself across the galaxy, which is fine, but if he's gonna do that, he shouldn't die at the end.
I don't know
if you
why
want
he
him to
died.
die,
Well,
he
I
should
like
be
that.
there.
I think-
I want him.
Yeah.
If you want him to die,
Disagree.
please get
I
there.
think they were-
because then you get a
No.
sad death. Because imagine
dying
if
through
Han,
an astral
imagine if
projection
Han
is
was
weird.
astral projecting himself, and when Kylo stabbed him through the chest, instead of his body falling into the
I
pit,
thought that
he
was
just
the best
died.
twist
Well,
of
you
the
have to-
movie. No,
yeah,
I
you
thought
have
that we all expected him to die the
Yeah, no, I
first
thought it was
time.
good. I thought it was good.
I liked that he didn't die when he got stabbed in the chest. It was like a wow. Everyone in the audience was like, wow, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I know that you're hating on it now, but when you were watching the movie, you were surprised and you did like
Yeah.
that.
Well,
And
What
no,
do
like
you
when he
mean?
dusts off his shoulders,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, that
so
was-
cringe.
No, that was
Not
so
so
cool.
cool.
That was
Whoa,
so
whoa,
cool.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking
yeah.
about when Kylo runs him through with his lightsaber.
Yeah.
You can have the thing where he just disappears, like how Obi-Wan dies, if you want to make reference to that.
That's
but
what
why
they should've
can't
done.
that be his
Well, I
actual
feel
body?
like it's
No.
the
the bit
meaning
where
of
he
the
dusted
death.
off his shoulder.
that was
at
so
the end,
That's
bad.
that
before
was
that.
so
Lame.
funny.
I feel it's-
Everyone in the audience laughed so hard. You say it's cringy. I said it was one of the highlights
Yeah,
of
that
the
was
With
it.
the
movie.
whole,
Everyone's
with the whole
yeah.
astral projection thing,
That's
I think
not
it's
the point.
I think it's the meaning of his death. They want to make him less of a martyr, like you're saying, and just make it so that it's a more peaceful homage to him leaving, so that it paves the way for guess who's coming in behind and shifting the boulders. The new
Alright,
hero
but if
Rey.
you want to give him a somber moment, you can still do that. It's not like
But
he's
it
gonna.
wasn't supposed to be somber.
It wasn't supposed to be
That's
somber.
the
It wasn't
whole
supposed to be
point
a
of
big
it.
sad thing.
You don't need
The fact-
You trying
every
to tell
single
me
time
that
a
killing
major
off
character
the main-
dies, you don't need to have every single main
Yeah.
character dying in somebody's
Yeah.
arms.
Well,
It's
exa-
the most
listen-
cheesy
well, look at-
way
No
of
one
killing a
has. He
character.
does. He can be alone.
Yeah, it's
He
better
dies
when they
alone
die
on
alone.
the planet.
Yes.
But
that's
it's
the point.
symbolic.
Yes.
Exactly.
When
It's
he
more
leaves,
symbolic,
when Rey
yeah.
leaves, and she says like Luke's, she's like, Luke, come with me, like we need you, and he says no, like I'm staying here. That's symbolic. That's
Yeah.
it. Like he's not ever getting
She
back
knows
in
that
this
he's
world.
going to die.
He's never
Yeah.
coming back.
He's
Further,
going to
okay,
die.
He's not getting involved. What does he do literally immediately?
No, but like
Get involved.
Get
It's,
involved.
it's the
And
development of
die
his
for
character,
it.
though. It's
It's-
the
it-
development of his
yeah, it's-
seen
it's-
as his
that's-
cynical
that's-
I
character.
really
No.
liked that part.
You
I
start him
really-
off so cynical, and he comes up sacrificed.
Alright.
He
He's
becomes
still
the old
cynical
Luke.
at
He
the end.
becomes the
Nothing
old Luke.
changes.
He
I-
becomes the old Luke
I
again.
I would like to say though, for like the whole like the bombers and then like the trenches later. What is that? World War II? Come on.
Yeah,
They're
I
in-
mean,
like they've got
They
all
have
this
bombers.
stuff.
Just nuke the trenches.
What?
See,
But you see
Why?
there's
everyone
anti-air
is
defense.
so upset with the Force Awakens when it came out because it was like it didn't go far enough into surprising us. And then now the fans of Star Wars are like, oh, but the Episode 8 was too shocking.
Yeah.
It's annoying,
Honestly,
especially for a fan of Star Wars.
Did I say anything that I said there was that was too shocking?
No.
No, but
Nothing I said there has
you-
anything to do
everyone
with what
is
you're
hating
saying.
about
You
7
keep saying
for the
everyone's hating.
opposite.
I am being perfectly open to any corrections.
He's not really
I
talking
just-
about you.
I'm not
He's-
talking
I know,
about
but
you.
where's
Well, then you're
where's
setting up
my
a strong.
address?
No, he's
Where is my?
he's less so countering your points and trying to put them into a more positive spin for the movie.
But
Yeah.
it's
He's trying to take your ideas and make them less of a criticism of certain parts of the movie, albeit a positive criticism, and he's trying to turn. He's trying to sway your opinion.
And
But
Jacob, the
You're
bit that
just
you said
saying
about
that everyone's mad, but I'm not
But
mad.
the
I
bit
just
that-
want, I just want my movie.
He's trying to relate to a broader audience.
Some,
See-
some, parts
see-
of the, some parts of the movie aren't like perfect, but like
No.
you can't like harp on everything. I know
See-
you're not. I know you aren't. I know you aren't. I know you aren't. But like at some points you have to talk about it and like
Yeah, I
and
am.
like yeah and like
see,
Go
see
ahead.
what I'm saying, Jacob, is that in earlier on in your argument, you said the bit with the bombers was really cool, but why can't you just leave it being really cool? It's a movie for children. You don't need to go into the science around this
I'm not
entire
going to
bomb.
I'm not
Actually, I'm a
going to-
nerd. I
With
require
trenches.
accurate science.
I'm not even like that. I'm not. It just.
Come
It's just-
on,
it's
it's
just
a
a big
movie for
question.
children.
It's a big plot hole.
Well, honestly,
And
it did
if
kill.
I can't say this is a plot hole and it takes me out of the movie, like it wasn't that like I was thinking about it afterwards. Like that took me out of the movie. I'm like, why did they do that? Where was this the whole time? That took me out of the movie.
So what's your issue with the hyperspace? That you should just sacrifice more spaceships and people to destroying fleets of...
No, I would just like
now?
an explanation. Like this is like they had to overload the drive or something like really difficult to
What
do.
was a Hail Mary
Why-
attack?
Or maybe Rose.
Why
like,
can't
'cause
they have
Rose-
special like torpedoes that have hyperspace drives on them?
Well, I'm not
Or
even talking
just
about
have
all
a
that.
droid
I don't
do it.
care about all that. That's too much thinking.
They
I'm
are a
not thinking-
rebellion, by the
maybe
way. They don't
Rose-
have access to
Yeah,
numerous
but the-
resources.
No,
They
they're
have
the
a lot of
Republic.
droids.
They were
It's
the
a story
they were
for
the New
children, and
Republic.
it's plot
Exactly.
convenient.
Alright,
New
I'd say-
Republic.
I'd
That's
say-
unclear
I
that
have
they're
one
rebels.
more thing I would like to say. One more thing
okay.
about the character of Rose, because she got a lot of hate, and I feel bad for her because I think she was almost there. There was a lot of things
Oh,
like
this
for
was the
for
B
Doctor
plot?
Who. I know this is a
Asian
little bit
girl.
of a minor thing. The Asian woman.
The
Yeah.
B plot with Finn, right?
I don't care
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
No, it's-
I have
sorry,
no
I'm
issue
trying
with
to, no, I'm
that. I
trying to
have
think
no
of her
issue with
character.
that.
I'm trying to think
Yeah,
of her
try-
character. Sorry.
I think
should've
she could have
died.
had a very good plot development there because I want these new characters to be cool and I want to feel for them. Like Finn, I think he got a little bit silent in this movie. Force Awakens,
Well, that was
I
good.
liked him.
I
I
think
think
that
he
was
was
okay.
cool. They get a lot of nice moments. And Rey, I don't even mind Rey that much. She's alright. She's pretty okay.
She's grown to be a good character, I think.
Yeah.
They hinted at
best of the new.
Not necessarily, yeah, not
I thought
necessarily.
she was
Kylo
Yeah,
Ren.
the
Kylo Ren
character
is the best
seems
character.
so-
Kylo
Well,
Ren
they've
is
become
very
very good. They've become very good predecessors of the original villain roles, but shifted to a more modern viewpoint. I think, which is nice. It's nice to see.
Yeah, I feel like Ryan Johnson did something a little like it was odd because the way they had it set up, where they were gonna have Abrams for 7, then Ryan Johnson for 8, then someone else for 9.
Yeah.
It's Abrams
It
again.
really
Abrams.
Abrams again.
It is
Oh,
now,
no.
but
okay.
originally
It's okay.
it wasn't
Okay.
going to be. It was going to be another
No.
another different director.
I would have
But
preferred that.
It kind of
Yeah.
it leaves like the possibility for plot holes because the directors might have different views.
Well,
Well,
And that's what it
actually-
felt like in 8.
I'm gonna bring
Was
up-
you had the big plot like big questions from episode 7, like who is Snoke, Who are Ray's parents?
I liked
No
it.
All
I
of those
I liked
questions.
that actually.
And you get into episode 8, and Ryan Johnson completely dismisses them. He literally kills Snoke, has Kylo Ren say that Ray's parents are nobody.
I liked that.
All those things.
I don't
so
have
it
any
feels
issues.
like
No,
Yeah,
I
but
liked
it
that.
means
big
there's no
plot
cohesion
questions.
to
Yeah.
the problem. To the
it
story.
feels like, you know, that like the game of telephone, or you know
Yeah.
those
That's a good
those like
metaphor. That's a good
stories
metaphor.
where one person says like their word and the next person says their word and so on to make a story. It feels like that. It feels disconnected.
It is a little bit blue balling.
I liked.
What-
I
what-
liked
okay.
the.
Like
I
we're never
liked-
gonna know who Snoke was.
And
What
now
I- guys,
episode
this-
8 is like it has no big question.
What I feel like with the bringing up the director's point is, I think what they tried to do with that is replicate what George Lucas did with the original Star Wars trilogy, because each movie had a different director, right? Lucas directed A New Hope, but then Irvin Kershner did
A fantastic job.
Yes.
with Attack of, with Revenge of this. No,
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire
I
Strikes
always
Back.
forget how to say
I-
that.
I-
It's alright.
that's
Because
a bit of
Revenge
it.
of the Sith and like Empire Strikes
And
Back.
I
We all-
forget who
we
the
all called that
director
episode
of
five.
Return of the
It's
Jedi.
hard
I forget who it was.
I can fact check that. Keep going.
But whatever. They did three different directors, but I think the difference is that Disney gave all of the creative control to the directors, whereas there was no one person with one vision.
Yeah.
And
So,
those
yes.
were also based on the original script for episode 4, which consisted of episodes 4,
Yeah.
5, and 6.
Yeah.
And they were like, wow, this is way too
Yeah,
long.
so what I want to bring up really quickly, and this might piss Russell off that I'm tying this to Star Wars, but Kevin Feige, who is the producer of
Feige.
Marvel,
Feige.
sorry, fuck, I always say Feige.
It's okay, man.
He is the executive
Names are
producer
hard.
for Marvel Cinematic Universe. He is
Yeah.
the overarching,
Yeah.
not overlord, but
He is
like
Thanos.
overlooker of all the multiple directors, because there's Peyton Reed, there's the Russo brothers, there's Jon Favreau, and they've all done these 22 odd movies, all different directors. But if you have someone like the script from the original story, or if you have some sort of
Like overall view.
I think
exactly, yeah,
I'm
if,
not-
if you can stick to an overall script, if you can have some sort of not formula but just a structure to it, you're able to craft a well-connected story. And I agree with Seb,
Because it
because
feels
it does
might
seem
not like-
disconnected.
Yeah, and now
Yeah.
it seems like there's no point of 9,
Yeah.
really, because are there any big questions from 8?
One last point,
The
we can
new
move on.
characters.
Rose. I liked Rose. I like what they're trying to add in. They're trying to add in a 4th character, which is cool. They haven't done that before. You want to add something a little bit new. That's good. If she needed to do 2 things just to be like, all right, this is a cool character. I want to see more of her in the future, because right now I'm kind of
I
indifferent.
didn't get it. I didn't get the hate to Rose.
Yeah.
Not gonna
I
lie.
hate Rose.
I didn't get it. I don't
didn't
get
mind
why.
her.
I have 2
Yeah.
things.
What would
One,
she have done?
I wish she was the one who did the thing with the hyperdrive, because she's the mechanic, right? They set that up early
Yeah.
on. Maybe like Holdo, they get back to the ship before they get captured. They're like, okay, we have this plane, or they have to stop by to get something. I don't care. Whatever. It's
Stop by to
unimportant.
get something.
Pick up
I need
McDonald's
my.
on the way back.
Yeah.
What important? Imagine if she was like, all right, I can do this for you, Holdo, and then you have like a little bit of a moment between the two, or these 2 new characters, you get a little bit more information, you get to understand that maybe they have a history, maybe they have a bit of background, maybe they know each other, and you get a little bit of like a cool moment. There's like, oh guys, remember when Rose like overloaded the hyperdrive to launch it like a missile? That was a really cool thing that she did in particular. Every Star Wars character has like a little bit of that thing. Like Poe Dameron saves them, Finn duels the guy with the lightsaber and the electro stick, Rey gets to lift up the rocks. Everyone has like their own like, wow, that's a cool moment. Like Chewbacca shoots him in the leg and wounds him, and like he's wounded for like the rest of the movie. You know, I don't think Snoke really has. Actually, Snoke gets like that speech, which is kind of cool. The guards get to do stuff. You know,
Snoke could
Rose
have
doesn't
so much
have that
cool.
moment where I'm like,
Disagree.
wow, that's a cool moment. I'm really glad I got to see that.
I can
So I
understand
wish she
that.
got something like that. And also, a thing at the end where I know they're trying to do something about like themes. Like you don't kill you save the people you love. I wish she did stuff like that. I wish she didn't do it in that specific way, because at the very start of the movie, her sister dies to make sure that
It
the
would have been
rebellion
good if she
can
took
save.
over for Finn and like sacrificed herself. I think that would have
Well,
been.
that's what
really
she
good.
tried to do.
Well, no,
at the
because she
end
just
of-
hit him out of the way. Like, imagine if she'd like been able to like fix or something, been like
That'd
the
be good.
mechanic and
If
stuff.
it was a sacrifice
Yeah.
of getting into that.
She
like,
does the
huge
exact
laser
opposite of
cannon.
her sister at the start of the movie, which
Exactly.
is
That's-
which maybe will work out. But
Well, I think
instead of dying for the rebellion,
She dies for-
she makes sure that someone doesn't
Well, they're-
die, which dooms
well,
the
no, they're
rebellion
playing
in
kisses
her
him
eyes.
and,
no,
like-
they're playing a bit into the cliche of making
Yeah.
her a love interest rather than a character, and I really don't want to see her
But
go
we don't
down
need
that
a love
road.
interest, like,
We can stop banging our heads against a wall trying to fix a movie that's already been created and talk about
That's
a different
already
bad
broken.
movie that is actually pretty good.
All the other movies are bad except mine, which
Yeah,
is Home
so
Alone 2.
Why don't we let the man behind the curtain talk about his movie?
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York,
I'd say
is
it's
a
good.
great film.
Okay, never mind.
Does anyone think that this movie's bad?
I don't think it's bad.
You think it's
Jacob?
Okay, don't
it's a
raise your
Christmas
hand. It's an audio
classic.
podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I just don't want to be loud, so I'm trying to keep it civil. Anyway,
Make a little clicking noise.
it's weird. Anyway, I
Hereditary.
I don't dislike Home Alone 2. And I hate to be the guy who's always like, well, this is a little bit silly.
That's who you
But that's who I am. Deep
It's
in my
not bad.
soul,
Like,
I'm a
could be
bit of a
worse.
complainer. I like to complain.
So then
Wait a
let's
second.
let's listen to Liam's
So Liam, you explain why, and I will bring up a couple issues I have with Home Alone 2.
Well,
But
let
don't
someone
break
else
this
bring
rule.
No
up
one
a
seems
couple
to think it's
before you,
bad,
yeah.
so I think we can just move on.
I think Liam just wins.
I think I just win. I picked a good movie.
gonna pick
I think The Godfather is a bad movie.
Oh!
Not
All right,
bad.
let's talk about Home Alone 2.
Uh-oh,
Liam, why
okay,
don't you
so
explain to
everything
the
will
people who
Second's
don't know what Home Alone 2 is all about?
Home
Don't
Alone
know
2
Liam.
is the movie where the kid from Home Alone 1, Macaulay Culkin, is
Rest his soul.
Mr. Beat.
gets stuck on a plane going to New York because he has horrible, evil parents who are actually abusive.
No.
And yes, I'm sorry, that is negligence.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Trust me.
But
They
then,
also like rabbits, man.
It's his extended family as well. It's a multi-family group.
They have like 14 kids.
no, it's not all their kids. That's their uncles and family too.
They counted the
No.
boy.
Yeah,
He was
they
in his car. Like he was.
Anyway,
So many
let him
kids.
finish.
Just
Let
one
him.
family.
Let the man finish.
You know what? Overpopulation, whatever. Okay, keep going.
There's tons
Overpopulation.
of families like
Anyways,
that.
and he gets caught in New York, and in New York he meets Donald Trump, eats candy on his dad's credit card. So like, yeah, it's a great movie.
All right.
And finds out that the pigeon person isn't bad, just like the guy with the shovel
And
in
yes,
the
and
first
I
movie.
will be getting there. So Liam has done me a great favor. What he has just described is the plot for Home Alone 2. But in the same vein, he has basically described the plot for Home Alone 1.
Hey,
That's
if
the
it ain't
only-
broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And 3
Liam-
and 4 and 5.
No.
No, 3 and 4 and 5 are bad
mega
because they
bad.
don't have Macaulay Culkin.
Any-
If you
yeah, but
literally
they
just
still
switch the
follow
kid
the
out
same
with
pattern.
Macaulay Culkin, I would like those movies.
Anyway, the thing is, Liam.
Too bad Michael Jackson, you know.
Yeah,
That's spicy.
topical
technically, he denies it, Macaulay Culkin, but we all know what happened.
Liam has already brought up most of my gripes with the movie, so I will feel no need to talk over them again. Except for the fact that the movies are incredibly similar. And they have a lot of similar plot beats. So you have, he gets forgotten at home. Yeah. He gets forgotten at home, and you think, all right, that's the first time. You're like, that's unfortunate. They have a lot of memories. It's respectful. Then the same kid gets forgotten again. That's a little bit iffy. I'm like, well, okay, I'm gonna call a little bit of Child Protective Services on you, big lady.
Yeah, you'd
That's
think
not
they'd be
great.
more concerned with that
Furthermore-
not happening again.
Exactly.
right?
Like if it was my kid, I'd have him literally in a little bundle
You
under
know,
my arm.
you know
the
those
whole way.
backpacks with the leashes?
It'd be
Bet your
very-
ass
it'd be
you would be
very
wearing one of
traumatic.
those.
It'd be very traumatic.
Anyway, on top of that, there's also the fact that once again, the same two robbers are robbing. With the first movie, you can relate to them because they're getting pounded. They are getting just totally destroyed, and you feel really bad for them because half those traps would kill a person without fail or horribly mutilate them.
Yeah.
The first time, they're just trying to rob a house. They're kind of poor. They're kind of stupid. You feel bad for them. The second movie, they are actively trying to murder a kid. It's not that they
To be
start-
fair though, his traps get more sadistic too.
Yeah,
I
that
know,
is very true.
but they're still trying to murder a kid. How am I supposed to feel bad for a child murderer?
You're not. You're supposed to laugh
the
at
bad
their.
guys.
What
It's the
about a
comic-
double homicide committer?
What?
What?
Yeah, the kid
kid.
is literally
The
killing.
kid is trying to kill 2 people.
On
But he
top
didn't
of,
actually
on top of that, in the second,
Yeah, the robbers are only trying to kill one person. I'm just
It would all
saying.
be legal in
Self-defense, it's
Florida 'cause
self-defense.
stand
And
your
if
ground.
you put the two together, they're each just trying to kill half a person.
on top of that though, in the first movie, you have the neighbor who's like just, and everyone thinks he's weird because he's old. He lives alone. He has a very sad life. You get to learn about how his family life went wrong, and you feel bad for him. And you feel bad that everyone dislikes him. And it turns out he's actually a nice guy. In the second movie, you have Crazy Bird Lady that defeats the villains by launching a flock of 100 birds to defeat them by throwing bread at them.
It's
Which is
great.
a little bit weird. The only issue I have with that movie is that it's a worst remake of the first one. It's just like that one light.
There are
you know?
All
many
right.
movies.
So
that are
Jacob,
that.
your argument is that it's just
An inferior.
Too
It's
formulaic.
a, yeah.
repetition.
It's
Okay.
an inferior version.
Does anybody else have any thoughts about Home Alone 2?
It's just the exact same thing Jacob said, but it's not
All right.
bad. It's not a bad movie. Like, it's,
Yeah.
it's
It just, if anything, it just makes it not like a good movie to repeat watching. Like,
I'd argue
Yeah.
it's better than the original.
yeah.
All right.
Well, it's.
I would
can
disagree.
Go for it,
understand that. I
Sebastian.
can
Go for it,
understand
Seb.
that, yeah.
Okay.
I like the chops in
well,
this one better.
it has Trump in it.
and now we
Okay,
see
we
all
win right there.
dramatic
Next topic. Yeah.
Okay.
What do we?
Make Home Alone great again.
With that, we
That was
conclude.
his acting debut.
That was probably his audition too.
He
I'm
is
going
like-
to make this movie
You know how you have
very
your
great.
triple threats or whatever? This guy's a president and an actor and a
An
businessman.
incredible
Triple
improv
threat. Isn't that
artist.
basketball?
No, triple
It's
threat is
acting,
someone who's
Someone who
singing,
has
dancing.
three things as
Acting,
well.
Dance
It is
and
basketball.
Yeah, dancing and
That's
acting
that's
for
also basketball,
musicals.
though, right?
It is
Yes, it is
basketball.
also-
Yeah,
Triple
triple
threat
threat
is
too, yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
Okay, Gavin, wrap us up for.
Well, that concludes
The
part
jock
one of our
ball,
movie, bad movie, ultimate battle. We'll come back next week with the second part of this episode where we
Next
talk about.
week?
With, yes, next week.
We're gonna
Definitely,
post
we're gonna
these.
post it next week. Next week, we'll talk about the next 4 movies, and then we'll have our conclusive vote about which bad movie is actually the best. Thanks for listening.
Don't go anywhere.